Washington Wizards. So Scott Brooks is out as the Washington Wizards coach. After they have decided they will not extend a contract of Coach Scott Brooks. So I have a quote here, and the quote here says is from the general manager of the Washington Wizards, Tommy Shepard. He says, and I quote, "We have been committed to taking the proper steps over the last 2 seasons to develop our young players, bring in pieces to complement Bradley Beal, and build a winning environment that will ultimately lead to sustained on-court success. Our organization will always be grateful to Scott for his dedication and work both on the court and in the community over the past 5 years. And I personally admire and respect how he helped keep our team together during the unprecedented events of the last 15 months." And yeah, the two sides failed to come to an agreement on the new deal, which is the reason why Scott Brooks will not be returning. And he led the Washington Wizards to the playoffs for the first time in 3 seasons. And his contract expired after Washington's first round loss to the Philadelphia 76ers. And again, they needed, and Shepard said earlier this month that the team needed to evaluate Brooks. So in 5 seasons with the Washington Wizards, Scott Brooks had a record of 183 and 207 with 3 playoff appearances, including making the Eastern Conference semifinals in 2016 and 2017. And this year, the Washington Wizards went 34 and 38. So again, not the best career record that he had with the Washington Wizards, but regardless. And yeah, overall, Nate, he is going to be part of that head coach and free agent now, and there are teams that are definitely in need of head coach and free agents, Nate. Teams that are in need of a head coach are the New Orleans Pelicans, the Boston Celtics, Indiana Pacers, Orlando Magic, Portland Trailblazers, now Washington. And a little bit of an interesting fun fact: Brooks was the 7th longest tenured head coach in the league, and the only current head coaches that have stayed with their team longer were Greg Popovich of the San Antonio Spurs, Eric Spoelstra of the Miami Heat, Rick Carlisle of the Dallas Mavericks, Steve Kerr of the Golden State Warriors, Quinn Snyder of the Utah Jazz, and Mike Malone of the Denver Nuggets. Those are the only 6 other coaches that have been with their team longer than Scott Brooks. So I'll pass on to you first, Nick. But before I do, the source for this article was ESPN News Services. So your thoughts on Scott Brooks out as the Washington Wizards coach?
First of all, best of luck to Scott Brooks in his future endeavors. Best of luck to the Wizards as well. Yeah, Mario. Now it's time to look for a new head coach. To get him up to that next hump, to get him to that next level. You know what I mean? So I looked at it, and he has been taking his team to the playoffs in certain cases, Mario, but not that level of expectation we're expecting. Now that you have Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal's finally starting to turn into that player that we expected him to turn into back when he was drafted almost a decade ago. Now we got to get these players to the next level. Now we got to get players around these guys and actually go to the next level and hope to bring home a championship. Now they got to find that coach that will take them to that next level. So I do wish him the best of luck in trying to find that coach to take them to that level. As for Scott Brooks, again, I'm not sure where he can go. He could go to New Orleans. He could go to the Magic. He could go to the Celtics. They need a head coach as well. He could go to the Trailblazers. So there are a few teams out there that he could go to, but I'm not sure what he plans on doing. I'm not sure if he's going to take a break from the game or not. But whatever he decides to do, I do wish him the best of luck in his future endeavor. Same thing with the Wizards. I do wish him the best of luck in trying to find a new head coach, and we'll see where this goes, Mario.
Yeah, well, first of all, best of luck to Scott Brooks. It is really, again, I find this very, very unfortunate with Scott Brooks because I don't believe the career record isn't that great. But again, I don't think all of it's his fault. And the reason why is because you think about how many injuries that John Wall sustained in Washington and how many games he couldn't play in Washington because he kept getting hurt. And you think of how long it took for Bradley Beal to finally reach his potential. Stuff like that. Again, that was a very patient time process. And honestly, I think they were onto something. I don't think Scott Brooks did that bad this year. Again, the record was 34 and 38, but he did take the Washington Wizards to the postseason as an 8 seed. And again, with Russell Westbrook staying there, again, they have a bright future in Washington. So I don't necessarily agree that like Scott Brooks was again the main issue. You know, I don't think that was the case. Was he part of it? Yeah, obviously, you know, coaching is part of it. And the Washington Wizards, you know, before this year, the past few years, they haven't been that great. So I understand that. But overall, again, I would have gave Scott Brooks probably one more year. But regardless, they didn't agree on contract talks, which was definitely a big reason why he's leaving. Now you got to think about the Washington Wizards in the future. Who do you get? I've talked about Mike D'Antoni a lot. I think that could definitely help them. You know, having a fast-paced offensive coach get this team scoring offensively at a high, fast-paced level. You know, I think that could definitely help them. Guys like Barry Trotz are still available, who ended up who showed you how great the Portland Trailblazers could be offensively. You look at defensive coaches like Stan Van Gundy. He's the first defensive coach that I'm actually looking at, Nate, that is for hiring in the free agency portal for head coaches. So maybe he goes there. Um, I'm trying to also think, you know, there's so many other coaches. Nate, Jason Kidd's obviously one of them. And obviously, you know, who knows? They could go to within the organization themselves and find someone. But again, Scott Brooks, I think overall, was it the best career record that he had? No, but there were a lot of factors to the reason why the Washington Wizards weren't as successful as they could have been, you know? So as for Scott Brooks, again, I wish him the best of luck in the future. Places he could go to is exactly what you said, you know? He could go to Boston, and he can go to Portland, Orlando, New Orleans, you know? So he can go Indiana. There's so many places he can go. So we'll see what happens with Scott Brooks. We'll see where he ends up, where he lands. And with that being said, I do wish him the best of luck in his future endeavors as of the Washington Wizards.